All right, we're going to zoom in on the commodity space, especially the world's largest listed palm oil company there, Wilmar, currently slightly off 0.3%, despite beating expectations with its quarterly numbers. Of course, it did have a pretty strong run up yesterday. The company reporting a better than expected 23% rise in Q2 net profit earlier this morning. That thanks to higher margins of palm oil and consumer products. Wilmar says it remains fairly optimistic for the rest of the year. One cause for concern, though, a 27% drop in quarterly revenue to $5.7 billion. Moving on to Noble now, the shares having a nice bounce of 2.5%, just over $2 on the STI. The company released second quarter results after the market closed yesterday. Net profit more than doubling to $249 million due to a one-off gain from the acquisition of Gloucester Coal. But revenues fell due to lower commodity prices. And now to help us get through these numbers from the two companies, we are joined by Nirgunan Tiruchelvam, equities analyst from Royal Bank of Scotland Asia Securities, right here on set. Well, great to have you on the show. What I'd like to highlight here is that ever since the March lows, and even from the start of the year, you have had a very bullish call on these companies. What do you make of the latest numbers we got? They both went their separate ways.
Well, in both cases, we are impressed by the numbers. They are well within what we expect. We expect both companies to deliver reasonable earnings growth in this year.
Even amid this story about destocking, restocking?
The restocking of commodities in China is actually of benefit to both Noble and Wilmar, because the more commodities that China purchases, the better the opportunities for processors like Noble and Wilmar. The two of them are major processors of soybeans in China, so we're optimistic on that count.
And we also have Sri Jagaraja, our commodities king, on set as well. Weigh in.
Yes, thanks, Chloe. I wanted to talk to you, Nirgunan, about Wilmar's plans to spin off the China operations in Hong Kong through an IPO. There are a couple of questions there. Timing, I guess, is foremost. When do you think this is going to occur, and how big a cash-generating theme is this going to be for the company?
The timing is probably going to be either the fourth quarter or the first quarter of 2010. So we're looking at either 6 to 9 months time frame. But the important thing to note is that the IPO will provide them with a massive use of proceeds. They will have a large portion of
$3 billion is the number that I've heard.
Exactly. So that would make it one of the largest IPOs of this year in this region, if not the largest. So that would provide Wilmar with the wherewithal to conduct aggressive acquisitions and capital expenditure in this region as well as regions beyond Asia.
Where do you think they might look into?
I think they'll focus on Asia, where the consumption of food is growing at a much more rapid pace than in any other region. The disposable income growth is working directly into food consumption, and it will benefit a large processor of food commodities like Wilmar International.
And, you know, another quick thought, you know, this has been something that's been reported right here on CNBC for the past couple of days. Sugar.
Yes.
Soybean, there seems to be a lot of bullish calls,
sure,
especially because of the monsoon in India now, and also the soybean consumption, sure, in China. How much more upside, and is it really going beyond the fundamentals?
Actually, the fundamentals are very strong. As you pointed out, there are climatic conditions or weather conditions which are restricting the supply of these commodities. On the demand side, you have countries like China and India consuming or purchasing commodities at a much more rapid rate than they had previously. So the fundamentals are very strong. We expect upsides of between 20 to 30% for the commodities that you mentioned.
Just very quickly, Nirgunan, outside this plan to raise cash through the IPO at Wilmar, how is the general balance sheet looking, and how is their cash flow looking? Is that going to support acquisitions?
The balance sheet is very strong. They are a company which generates very sound free cash flow, so we are impressed by what they have shown in these results and the basic fundamentals of the company.
Right, you have an upside call. The target price for Wilmar, $7 over the next 12 months. Absolutely. And a little bit higher for Noble as well. Currently trading at about $2, about $2.40, right?
$2.64.
$2.64. Thank
yes.
you. We'll hold you for that.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Nirgunan Tiruchelvam there from RBS.